One thing I'm starting to notice as I'm progressing on this my nofap journey and all that is that you can't check the box. Before I used to have this mindset, and I'm sure many of us do have this mindset that oh, once you reach the 90 or the 30, like once you reach a certain period in this journey, you almost like get rid of it. And to some degree, you do get there. Like there was a period when I just didn't think of these bad habits for like a very long period of time, for a significant period of time. But after that, what started to happen was slowly but surely those thoughts started to come back. Slowly but surely, that voice, that feeling started to come back little by little. And it was then I started to notice that you can't really get rid of this voice. So then I started to notice that you can't like check the box, you can't like just be done. You can't just be like, oh, it's done. It's an everyday battle, basically. It's an everyday battle. And there are some days that it is a lot more intense, that this feeling, this craving, these urges are very, very strong. And while there are some other days that is very easy, like you don't think about it and all that. So there is no end, basically. There is no end. But I just feel like as many of us start to go through life and start to get more advanced and all that, you might go past this stage, go past this level of watching porn on your phone and beating your meat and all that. But this idea of fapping and everything, it all comes back to this basic thing, if you think about it, which is lust. If you think about it, this whole fapping and nofap and this and that, at the end of the day, it's all just lost. Like that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's lost. And it seems that human beings, are animals, we're also creatures. So we are basically wired to, crave sex and reproduction and all that, because it's just like it's what living things do. So for the rest of your life, basically, or at least for a significant portion of your life, you're always going to have this feeling and these urges and everything. But the problem right now is just that feeling of lust and sex and reproduction and all that is like you are transmuting it, or we are people suffering from this porn addiction and all that, they are transmuting it into porn, into watching pornography, instead of actually going out to meet real women. So this is where the problem is. I think we should change the mindset from trying to get rid of the whole thought of sex and reproduction and all that. Like, because that, if you think about it, when you say no foul, that's the idea that comes to your mind, no sex and all that, which to some degree is fair. But the real culprit here is not even the sex and porn or whatever. The real culprit here is the porn. Is the fact that it's midnight and you're by yourself in your room and you're using your phone and you're watching these dirty videos on your phone by yourself, beating your meat, and you're not seeing your socks or a tissue or shell, like whatever fucked up thing you do. I think that is the real problem. This reproduction, wanting to have sex and all that, like that one is something that notice never really goes away, and it's always going to keep coming back forever, like for a very long period of time, as long as like your sexual health is very active, as long as you're still like a healthy meal, you're always going to have to battle this feeling of sex and lust and everything. So in summary, since this thing is an everyday battle and you can't just check a box, you always have to say no. The thing I do believe causes a lot of people's porn addiction and all that is a mindset. At least for me, it was a mindset shift. It was like a belief or an identity, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like even after doing all that, at the end of the day, it's more than just a mindset shift or a belief, because for a while or for some period, maybe you might feel free, you might feel like you have won, you might feel like, wow, I've left it, I don't do this anymore. But you will notice, at least I noticed that slowly but surely, those urges started to come back, those feelings started to come back, those thoughts started to come back. And if you don't resist, if you don't fight back, you're basically going to fall for it again. And you think, oh yeah, it's just once, and actually it's just once or twice. But slowly but surely, the more you keep listening to these urges, the more you keep letting them be, you start going back down this downward spiral, back down into this rabbit hole that you once climbed out of. And before you know, you're back there again, like you're there where you left off. So the point I'm trying to make is you have to fight. You have to fight every single day. Every single day. Obviously, you want to also do the more important ones, like the mindset and the identity and all that. But at the end of the day, you have to fight every single day. You have to be in your room by yourself, when those urges come up, and say no. And one thing I'm starting to realize recently is like a lot of successful people do have voices like this. Maybe it might not be regarding porn or Nofap or all that, but I was listening to a podcast, that David Goggins did with Andrew Huberman and all that, and it surprised me that David Goggins, everybody in the self-improvement space probably knows who he is. As hard as he is, still has that voice telling him to, just take a break, just relax. I don't feel like doing it today. As hard, as disciplined as, crazy, all the crazy things he has done, even till this very day, he still has that voice, he still has that resistance. But the only difference between David Goggins and most other people is that despite feeling that resistance, he still does what he has to do. He still says, no, I'm going to get up and run. No, I'm going to go and study the whatever. No, I'm still going to go to the gym. So at the end of the day, it's the exact same thing. You have to feel those urges, you have to listen to those voices and still say, no, at the end of the day, I'm still going to do the right thing. At the end of the day, I'm still going to not beat my meat. At the end of the day, I'm still going to do what has to be done. I'm still going to do the right thing. It's like, I'm not going to just feel this thing and just act in accordance. You don't always have to follow your feelings, like, because many times our feelings usually take us down the wrong path. For a lot of people, you feel a certain way and you act a certain way, but a lot of times that feeling is not in accordance with your goal, and you'll be surprised how it's almost like your own brain or your own body and all that, your own emotions are just against you, because so many of the actions that these feelings and these urges and these thoughts and all these things want you to do is just taking you further away from your goals. So you have to basically listen to them and still say no. So this is not to say me I'm perfect by any means. I'm not a pro, I'm not perfect by any means. I will make mistakes, I'm human obviously, but at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to drive home is that you feel a certain way, but you don't necessarily have to act a certain way. Those urges come, those thoughts come, those desires come. You can feel all of them, still say no, still do what has to be done, still have to do the right thing, no matter what.